Right. Uh, uh, thank goodness naman, medyo ano naman, what's this now? Na my children are all graduates now. So hindi, it's less stress, less expensive, and kumbaga low maintenance. Low maintenance. There.
That's nice to hear. I know we met today for a reason, right? Right,
Hmm. Ano ba?
Enzo?
Yeah.
Like for example, really LGUs are struggling. Like, oh my gosh, we're trying to keep the coaches motivated and the athletes motivated. I think virtual events, like racing events, is the way to go.
Yeah,
So
even this one. Yeah, correct.
exactly. So Enzo, who do you think can talk about? Okay, how do I really go about doing a virtual competition?
He's doing one right now.
Yeah,
This is my second virtual meet. I mean, I basically feel that with myself, I don't like to just talk about events. I actually like to actually go out and do them. Like it's just like you just need to, like just it takes a little bit of planning, connection. You need
sure,
connection,
sure.
that sort of
And
thing.
that's what
But
I think. Yeah, I
yeah,
think
you
that's what people want to know. Like, okay, my
got to
gosh,
start
what's the first thing
with
about?
a virtual event, and then you kind of don't know what to expect from your first one because you know that it might be a major hit or it might be a flop. So I prepared for both. I mean, when I had the women's virtual event, which was the first virtual event I've ever done, and it's like like the first time I think anyone in the Philippines has actually virtualized a sprint event. Um,
Oh yeah, for
I was
sure.
expecting maybe 6 or 7 or 8 entries, and I ended up getting 16, and I had and 13 of them finished. So it was that. But the other thing was, um, when you have virtual events, you have to do things a little bit differently to how you'd organize a normal event. I had worked with the weekly relays from 2013 to 2015, so I had experience in organizing an event with 2,000 or so athletes in it. But when you organize a virtual event, you have to offer something different to when you organize a normal event. So, say for example, we had a sponsor who gave up participant singlets, or if you need to add some variety to the virtual events to get people to come to them. Obviously, you have to bombard social media to get people in to a certain extent. But then after that, the first step is, I mean, getting people to your event. Then the next step is, delivering a quality event, not just quality for the athletes, but quality for the people who are actually watching it as well.
Of
That
course.
so, for example, with our virtual 5,000 meter run, um, we have prizes for the top three. We have singlets for free singlets for the most improved male and female, but we also have a free singlet for whoever can guess the closest time from the audience. So it's just getting the audience involved as well in the virtual event.
Engaged.
But I
I
think
get just gave you my number, Dina,
yeah,
sa chat.
thank you, please.
Just text me, then I'll text you also, Bongku's number also later on.
I don't know if I still have it. Titignan ko ah.
Bago na eh. Meron siyang
Ah,
bago eh.
really?
Oh, may bago siya eh. Kaya nga, ayoko naman ibigay dito kung mamaya baka maano eh. But
Ah,
you can PM her. You can PM her sa
sige sa Facebook.
Facebook ko. Add friend, etc. Pero ako okay. Okay lang ako niyan. Wala naman magagambala sa akin eh.
Ah,
Oo. So
that's nice
that's
ah.
my number.
Thanks,
You
Bong
just
ah.
text me. You text me or even ang ano ko kasi I use my formal name din sa Facebook, Manolo.
Ah, hanapin kita.
Oh, sige.
So this is a pre-record. Is this a recorded thing or it's a live
Yeah,
thing?
we're actually live. I just put us live about 5 minutes ago. I was going to say, but you guys were having such a good conversation that I kind of.
That's no problem.
Chick.
But I don't think you've said anything untoward.
Oh
In that
yeah,
last
yeah. Not
for
yet.
being knowledge.
It's so
Oh,
tempting.
Yeah,
oh.
I mean,
So
Zion will be joining us in about 10 minutes because she's basically just coming straight from training to the press
what
conference. She
what
advised me.
university is she now in?
She finished at she finished her degree at the UC Berkeley in Los Angeles,
Yes.
and now she's doing a master's at the University of Southern California, which is one of the
USC.
powerhouse teams in the
Correct.
United States.
Trojans.
It's one of the top two. That and Louisiana State are the best two women's track and field colleges in the country.
Well, at least she's still, I know, she's still pursuing her Olympic dream, and hopefully she
Um,
makes it. Is it so that's why after 2017 she wasn't able to compete last year, correct? Am I right about
Well,
that?
I think the issue
I
is,
think I
and
said
I've
it.
discussed this, is that, at the SEA Games, it's really out of season for her because she's
Correct.
got US college commitments. So in the SEA Games, that's where she's not really in shape at that time of the year because it's, December.
Yeah,
US
yeah, off
college
season, correct.
is, yeah, it's off season for her. So she always, um, she primed a couple of years ago in 2019 when, she first went through Lydia's national record
Mm,
at the beginning of 2000 and the beginning middle of 2019
mm,
because Lydia's national record was 23:35, which was set in 1987, like 11 years before Zion was born. So Zion at the West NCAA ran 23:24 and then 23:16. Um, so she broke that record twice. She didn't hold it for that long because at the end of the year, Christina Knott came out and ran 23:07 and 23:01. So, she held the Philippine um, 200-meter record for about 6 months
mm.
before it got broken. She used to hold the Philippine 400-meter junior and senior record as well before that got broken by Kayla Richardson.
Okay.
She was 15 years old when she ran that as well. She was about 15 or 16 when she ran the Philippine junior and senior record in the 400.
How old is she now?
She's 22.
20?
22.
Oh, it's still young.
Yeah, she's 3 years younger than Christina, I think.
Mm. So hopefully they can make it both. Well,
Yeah, there's no reason why it
when
can't
is
be done.
when does the indoor or outdoor season begin in the US? I think it's about to
Uh,
start, correct?
yeah, in about a week, because Eric Cray will be competing on the 24th
And
in Alabama.
31st, yes, correct.
He's
I
got
got
two meetings
that.
on the 24th and the 31st at Alabama.
Mm.
There'll be indoors, so obviously he won't be running the 400 hurdles because there's no 400 hurdles indoors. So he's probably either running a 60 or a longer, a
Mm.
200 or a 600 or
So
something.
basically it's build up to the 400.
Yeah. I also like to note that the Asian Indoor Games were postponed till 2022. That's what
Yes,
I,
it
yeah.
has been postponed. It
Yeah,
has been
so
postponed.
that's bounced from December of 2020 to to March of 2021 to April of 2021 till 2022. So
Mm.
it's bounced 3 times due to COVID,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's
Uh,
something that I think
it would be really frustrating. Uh, all of us I know are pitching to see the Philippine to see the Tokyo Olympic Games continue.
I
However,
think that
as you can see, because of the the spread of COVID-19, that is becoming a 50-50, if not even
yeah,
less
well,
proposition.
with regards to that, members of the national track and field team have been asking me, is the SEA Games going to push through? And my answer to that was, for the events in the first half of 2021, like the Asian indoors, I think that a lot of 2020, the early half of 2021 will be a write-off. But I said regarding the SEA Games being postponed or cancelled at the end of the year, I said it's too early to say because,
Ah, yes, that's last quarter. By
yeah,
the time even us will be even
I,
here in the Philippines will be having vaccines by then.
I think anything before June will probably be difficult, to push through with any like non-virtual meets before June are going to be very difficult to to orchestrate. But any competitions after like around August, July, like so the Olympics is kind of on the cusp. Like I don't think I think it's 50-50, but it's not like definitely the Olympics is not going to push through.
Hmm.
I think that SEA Games, it's too. I just told the athletes, and they asked me, I said, it's too early to say. We can't say it's going to be cancelled at this point because it's just, we don't know what will happen. It could improve. Look, we
Correct,
don't know.
correct, correct.
It's
It
too
it's
premature to
all
say.
depends on how the rollout of the vaccine, because depends also on how efficient the vaccine can be spread in all countries. Although at the moment, as you said,
By the
mm,
way, Enzo, Zion is in the waiting room. Oh, there she is.
I've added
yes,
Zion now to our discussion.
all right.
Uh,
Good morning,
Zion
Zion.
got. I'll ask to
Good
unmute.
morning.
Good morning, Zion. Thank you for joining us today. I've just asked if you can unmute.
Yeah,
Thanks.
got you.
And last time I saw her was in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah. So Zion, I'll just introduce who I have here. Obviously, I'm not sure if you remember me, but I met you and your grandmother a couple of years back in McCarthy, and your sister as well. I think at that time, like your sister went through a broken table or something. I can't recall. I remember. I think there was a glass table or something that kind of got
Yeah.
broken. But anyway, yeah. So I'll just introduce who we have today. So of course, my name is Andrew. I run Koi Athletics page. Like I was a former PSC consultant slash research assistant. Also joining us as my co-host, Miss Geraldine Bernardo, who is former PSC executive director, and the 2005 SEA Games gold medalist in dragon boat, and one of our leaders in the Philippines in women's sports. And also joining us today is Mr. Bong Dralves from the Malaya and ABS-CBN, who's a longtime friend of mine and one of our veteran reporters in sports um, in the Philippines. And we're on the air. So yeah, I will just begin off as I prepared some questions, and we're mainly going to discuss your Olympic aims and school and competitions and that sort of thing, primarily. So, okay, so my first question is because I had a talk with your Uncle Brett, and he advised that you're now with the University of Southern USC, the University of Southern California,
Mhm.
and you're now doing a master's at that school.
Yeah.
Can we ask what your master's is? Like, what do you
Yeah.
actually pursue?
Yeah. So I'm in my second semester right now in the Masters of Studies of Law, the MSL program here at USC.
Okay. Um, so my next question is in regards to the NCAA. Now that you're doing a master's, are you now eligible for any sponsorship, or are you still tied to the NCAA? Um, can you actually go pro at the stage, or do you still have to comply with the NCAA requirements at this point?
Yeah. So yeah, I still have to comply with like all of those rules. So no sponsorships and things like that. Just because I'm in a master's program, it doesn't matter. I'm academically I'm a master's student, but athletically I'm still a junior. So I'll have 2 years just under the NCAA. So yeah, no sponsorships or anything like that yet. Can't go pro technically until I choose to or I'm done school.
If you decided to go for a sponsor, would you prefer a local brand as your sponsor, or do you have any preference that like
Like, do you mean like clothing brands or just
Well,
like?
like just any sponsorship, like clothing or what?
Yeah. I mean, if everything goes perfect, I would love to be, sponsored by any type of major like retailer, but I am a Nike girl, so Nike would definitely be my top choice in a perfect world, but I'm definitely open to like obviously anything.
Yep. Okay. Um, Next question is, can you give us are you able to give us a brief summary of what your daily or weekly routine is when it comes to balancing training and academics?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I'll give you kind of like a weekly with school. So we just started school this week, and because I'm in a master's program, all my classes are at night. So this semester I practice. I wake up at 8. I get ready. I eat. I practice from 10:30 to 12:30 um, at SC, just like down the block. So I walk over there, and then after practice, I have rehab, so that will be from maybe like 12:30 to 2. I do like exercises, stretch, um, ice bath if I need to, Normatec. And then I get food from like the cafeteria there, walk back home, I eat, and then I kind of rest and go to class. And then sometimes in some of those days we have weights twice a week. So I'll also have weights and then I'll just do rehab after. But yeah, I mean, track is kind of just like a big chunk, and I'm just happy that I have all my classes at night. So at least I'll have nighttime classes. I don't have to worry about practice. So all my practices are in the morning and then classes at night.
Okay, tying into when we talk about things like ice baths and massages, I'm just going to ask some questions from a recovery point of view. So, um, do you have are you on a special diet for nutrition as an athlete? Do you um, consult sometimes with a sports psychologist? And obviously, massages are a bit probably part of that recovery program along with ice baths, right?
Hmm. Yeah, so we do like a body composition test like every 6 weeks, kind of just to see if we're on the right track with like body fat percentage, skeletal muscles, and fats like that. So usually right now I definitely no junk food obviously, and I try to stay away from red meats, so more chicken and fish.
Yeah.
I do eat the food that they give us for lunch and breakfast, so it's easy for me, so at least I don't have to cook as much. um, it has been hard this semester or since I've been to USC because they're a little bit more strict on the diet side. So they would ask me, and I would, obviously being a Filipino, rice is in my day to day nutrition. So I'd always be eating rice, and they were like, yeah, you might need to stop that. And they're very surprised that I would eat it for breakfast. I would always have longanisa and rice and eggs, and then chicken and rice later for lunch, and then salmon and rice maybe. And they're like, yeah, we need to cut it. So not having rice is a little bit tough. So I'm trying to eat a little bit better, but it's kind of just like a lot of pastas and chicken and fish. But yeah, they do try to keep track of the body fat percentage. So staying on top of that has kind of been different for me at least. Um, but yeah, tying into like the rehab and recovery, I just got my massage actually yesterday, so I try to keep track on that, especially with the high intensity that we're doing with a lot of sprints. I try to get a massage at least once every 2 weeks, but I do rehab every day, exercises, correction exercises, every day for like 2 hours, almost as long as my practice, and Normatec and ice bath. So definitely staying on top of that. I've had injuries a lot in my past, so like I'm very adamant about getting my rehab done every day.
So I didn't see you mention some Filipino dishes there. Can I ask you, because I have prepared a list of questions here and I have really done with them. What would be your favorite Filipino dish?
Oh man, that is very tough. It would just have to be my Lola's sinigang or brambabe slash tocino. Um, what else do I like? Adobo, like stuff like that. But sinigang, my Lola sinigang is the best, and that's my
What is
favorite. My
that? Pork, fish, or what is that?
beef. beef, I think. Yeah,
Beef.
her beef.
So it's red meat.
I know. That's why it's tough for me right now.
There's only special occasions that comes out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just in relation to your family, I think a lot of people do not know this, but I had a conversation with, is it Edna or Editha, your grandmother?
My Lola is Edna.
Edna, yeah. Well, I had a conversation with Edna, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but you have like some pedigree of sprints on your grandmother's side, because your grandmother is the cousin of the Onofre brothers. So Rogelio Onofre went to the 1962 Asian Games and won a silver in the 100, but he's better known as one of the guys who went to the Asian Games. I think it was just in 62. He won the gold medal in the Asian Games in the 4x1. So can I ask you what it means to you to have that, having that legacy with that, with those, with the relative of your grandmother there for you?
Yeah, no, it means a lot. She did tell me that a while back. And my parents and my Lola would always say that I got the sprinting from their side and not the Jamaican side. So it definitely means a lot coming from that, that line, and definitely want to represent it well. But yeah, I mean, like being on like a Filipino family, they always, would always tell me that it's not the black side, it's not the Jamaican side that got you here. It was all the Filipinos, all the food, it was all the rice and all that stuff. So my Lola would always be very adamant telling me it was always from her side. So want to represent it well.
Okay. My final question is this. So I understand that as well as track and field, you had excelled in some other sports prior to that. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I played basketball my whole life, even before track, honestly, throughout high school, and I was very, very competitive in it. I did see a future collegiately with basketball, but I did have, I felt like I had unfinished business with track, and I do like the individuality that comes with track and field. So I kind of just went in that route, but still love basketball. And still, I mean, in another life, I wish I could have played a team sport like that. But I feel like I made the right decision with track, though.
Okay. I've just got to ask one more thing, just to
Yeah,
clarify things a little bit with our audience, and then I'll pass on to our co-host and our reporter here. Just to clarify things, so the Olympic standard in the women's 200-meter dash is 22:80. You've run 23:16 during the 2019 season. How confident are you feeling regarding your chances for that meet, and how many meets would you have to aim for that qualification time, building up towards the June 29 deadline for the qualification for the 2021 Tokyo Olympics?
Yeah, I feel fairly confident because of COVID. Obviously, last year, a lot of things shut down right before we kind of got things built up. So I was definitely hoping, my first outdoor meet to get the qualifying time. But with my move to SC and everything that we're doing and being on one of the best, track teams in the nation with all the people that I'm running with, I'm definitely confident that I could hit that standard, hopefully fairly early on into my season. So my season starts February 6th, I believe. I have an outdoor meet at UNLV. So I'll have the whole NCAA season until June 29th to hit that qualifying standard. So I'm honestly fairly confident that I'll get it early on. I'm hoping definitely before April. And we have meets like every 2 weeks. So definitely wanted to just get that out the way so I can breathe properly, but fairly confident.
At USC, are you working with Carol, or are you working with which coaches are you directly working with at the moment?
Yeah, I'm with Coach Carol. She's the sprint coach, the first sprint coach.
So
So
she's coaching you directly because she's the head coach as well, right?
Yeah, so she's the head coach, but she's also the short sprint coach. So she's
Uh,
technically my event coach. And then there's also
right.
like Coach Watts, who does the
Yes,
400 through
400.
the long sprints. So he also helps out. There's quite a bit of coaches actually that watch this
But
every day.
mainly is it Carol, but there's other coaches who help out here and there.
Mainly it is Coach Carol. Yeah, she is my event coach.
Yeah, she's really good, right? Because I heard that she was like USA Track and Field Women's Coach of the Year or something at one point.
Exactly.
She's
No,
a very well decorated coach.
yeah, no, she's definitely one of the greatest coaches in track and field history for sure. That's why I feel like I'm in good hands. And with the
Yeah,
team,
she's probably in the best situation there at USC that you can possibly be in to actually hit that qualifying standard.
exactly.
All it now comes down to is just having, like being in a good race and having some, good, good weather, good conditions, good race, and then bang, qualified.
Exactly. That's why I was super excited and super happy that I was able to transfer to USC. I mean, my teammates are people that run 22-1 and 22-4 and 6, so I get to train with them every day and run with them and race them. So definitely the best situation for a short sprinter, female short sprinter.
Okay, thanks very much for that. That's my set of questions. I now pass on to either Geraldine or Mr. Boncatralves, who would like to go next.
Ladies first.
Thank,
Okay, Tina.
thank you, Coach. Hi, Zion. I was able to catch the finals of the 4x100 relay. Congratulations! I was right there, like in front of you guys. You striking a pose, things like that. That's cool, so cool. So I guess from my point of view, I mean, uh, everybody who looks at the Phil Forens or the Philams are kind of curious, like how did you get here to where you are? I mean, being Phil Am, how does it go? How do they get to know about you, or were
Yeah.
you the one who was proactive? So this is for other Phil Thorns who might want to kind of get into that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think growing up, I mean, I ran for Team BC in Canada for the beginning, and then it was hard for me because I was a dual sport athlete and I did want to compete in a lot of the big meets like Worlds and stuff like that. But Team Canada had very like strict rules. And being in from like a very Filipino household, it just like made sense to me to represent the Philippines. I mean, I used to go there every summer with my Lola and everything. I understood a little bit of the language. I'm still trying to learn. Um, but it made sense for me to go for Team Philippines and wanted to represent them just because I knew they didn't have much representation. So my mom and my uncle and my Lola together kind of were like, "Oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to set it up?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would love to be part of like a national team to be able to go to like to these big meets such as Worlds and World Juniors and all these other Asian games and stuff like that." So my Lola contacted the people and she kind of set it up, and I already had my citizenship, so it was kind of just like an easy route to get there. And then from there I was able to do all of these amazing meets and travel all over the world. So very grateful for my parents and my Lola and uncle that kind of like set it up for me.
How long was that? I mean, before from the time of the setup, and of course, what were the requirements?
Yeah, it wasn't because I already was a dual citizen at that time. It wasn't that hard or that long of a process. I couldn't really tell you the amount of months, but um, when track season started for me when I was in grade 10, it kind of just like happened. I think the requirements were I needed to be a citizen, and I think that was like a big thing that they were really trying to get. And because I already had it, it was kind of just contacting them and sending them times and meets and stuff like that that I wanted to compete at. But once I had my citizenship, I don't think it was a long process.
I see. So as you flew here, what did you do then? So
Yeah, so like when I was part of the team, I think my first meet was in Thailand. I think there was a bunch of qualifying things that Team Philippines needed me to do to be able to technically be on the team and then compete at World. So I did want to go to World Juniors, which was in Oregon that year. And they wanted me to go to a certain meet. So my first meet was, I think, in Thailand, was an invitational. And I think I flew there, I went there, everything was kind of like taken cared for. And then there was just like a list of meets that I had to do. So every 2 years, I have to go to the Philippines. I had the Philippine Open that I went to, I believe, 2 years ago, um, to be able to satisfy the standards to be able to go to like the Asian Games, Southeast Asian Games, and all those things. So I think there is like a set of requirements and meets for me to do. Um, and because I told them I was training, obviously in the States at Cal and slash USC, so it kind of just like worked out that way.
So, despite you growing up Filipino, so were there any things that kind of shocked you when you came over, like maybe work ethic or how Filipino athletes are?
Yeah, I think when I first came, well, because I've obviously been to the Philippines many times. When I came to the athletic and I saw a bunch of the athletes, I went to like a very small, I think, high school meet just to like watch, and I was like, oh my gosh, like some of these people don't have shoes, like they're running, barefoot and stuff. So it was very like humbling. I think I ran there and I ran like I just ran slow, but I was like, I just want to run just cause, and like everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're so fast. I'm like, no, I just ran like 14 seconds. Like it's not fast, but just seeing them like not even have shoes and stuff, I'm like, wow, like I'm so privileged and like and like Canada in the States. And but it made me happy because they were happy and they were just down for the sport and very like glad to even be there. So it made me happy to be able to represent the Philippines, and like especially when the Southeast Asian Games, that was like one of the best meets I've ever been to. Like I've a lot of the meets don't really have that many people, but the fans were like insane. It was filled to the brim and like everyone wanted pictures. It was like a surreal experience. So it definitely like was gratifying and kind of solidified my choice for Team Philippines.
Seems like you have it quite easy, but do you think you can speak for other Philams? Was the transition that smooth for others, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was smooth, but I can't. I don't know if I could speak for every Phil M or Phil Can that would like transition. I think just because I've grew up in such a Filipino household and I've been to the Philippines so many times that I was like, I kind of knew I could understand them. I knew the language and I knew like mannerisms and like and how things go. I know like some people might be like, oh, like they calling ma'am sir, like what does that mean? I'm like, that's just how they greet you. Like it might be a little bit of a change, but I think it's worth it when you actually take time to be in the Filipino culture, be in the Philippines, compete and seeing people. I mean, I think it's definitely worth it. It might be a little bit different, of course, from North American standards and views, but like it's the sport just brings everyone together. It's track and field, like or whatever sport you're in. People still love it, and it doesn't matter like what culture you're in.
And by the way, I can also invite other people here present to also chime in. Maybe Sir Bong wants to ask, but I do want to ask Zion whether, so what do you think people here in the country have misconceptions about, the Philippine athletes?
Or can
Do
you say
think
that
there
again?
are? Yeah,
Can you
do
say
you
that?
think there are like misconceptions about you guys, the Philippines? Like
Yeah.
the type of support you might be getting vis-a-vis your counterparts, or
Yeah, no, I think there might be like some obviously slight differences because I feel like at least the Philippine team, I mean, through all sports, I feel like we have a lot of foreign Filipinos from America and Canada that kind of come in and represent. And I kind of saw it a little bit during the Southeast Asian Games with a lot of like comments and stuff I thought were funny, but I don't know. I can't say the treatment might be is too different. I mean, I feel like for me, I'm so proud to be able to represent the Philippines, and like it is a little hurtful when I feel like, oh, they don't deserve it just because they're not born here. And I'm like, yeah, you might be right, but like if you could like see how I live and like my household and everything, my Lola and my family, like I feel like I'm just as Filipino as the next person that's actually born there. And I'm so proud to be able to like say that I'm Filipino. That's one of the first things I tell people. I'm like, I'm not black, I'm Filipino. Like, don't call me that. So I know that there's might be like some differences. Oh, they're from North America, they get treated differently, but I think we all have like the same goal in mind, is to further the recognition of the Philippine athletics. And I think it actually helps to have foreign people represent and to say we're from Team Philippines. Like I know the twins. I mean, like it's so cool that like they also went to USC. I'm like, yo, we're literally part of Team Philippines together. And I tell people that all the time when they ask me who I compete for. And I think it just gets like the word out there, honestly. But I can understand where people are coming from, even from other like nations. I know like Team Malaysia or like other people were mad because we weren't like born there, but I'm like, you know, I swear, I promise you, I'm just as Filipino as the next person. Like I represent it just as much as people that were actually born there. So I understand where people are coming from, but I would like to, at least I know a lot of the foreign people like kind of solidify and kind of like want to further the recognition of Team Philippines. We always want to say that like we represent you well. We are just as proud as you as the next person to be able to represent.
Nice, I love it. Sir Bong has been chatting away, and it's like he's like an encyclopedia. Take the floor, Sir Bong.
It's
He's
a
been
no, it's okay.
like all these little nuggets of information.
Since you mentioned it, and that you're a relative of Rogelio Onofre, as Andrew pointed out. Anyway, just for symmetry, Rogelio Onofre competed in the 1964 Tokyo Olympic Games. So,
Wow,
just for
Full circle.
symmetry, and hopefully, so
literally full
every
circle.
yeah, full circle. Hopefully you do make it. At maraming salamat. Maraming salamat. Naintindihan mo yun, di ba? But,
I understand some.
okay, kaya nga eh, di ba?
It was crazy because I took Tagalog my last year, and I wanted to
Oh,
learn so badly because I wanted
oh,
to learn. I wanted to be able to speak when I went to the SEA Games and interviews and stuff. And
oh,
I
nga.
tried so hard.
Oh, watch the
And
teleseries.
I
That's the
know
way.
my grandma always told me to watch TV shows, and I'm trying to, but I don't have those channels. Or what is it, TFC or T?
Yeah.
I wanted to watch, but I wish SC had a Tagalog or Filipino class because I would have taken
Oh,
it
nga.
so fast. But I have my books ready, so I'm gonna try to
Hey,
learn.
maybe USC has a Filipino group somewhere.
I know I've been
I know
trying.
Harvard does.
Yeah, because at Berkeley there's so many Filipinos, so like my whole class I had like
Mm.
all these teachers like teaching me and everything, so it was great. It was such a great community. So I wanted to find it at SC, but with COVID it's hard to do like meet in person and stuff like that.
True.
Anyway, backtracking a little. What are your
Yeah,
personal bests in the 100 and 200?
my personal best in the 100 is 11:41 and 200 is 23:16.
Which you ran in where and when? 23:16.
23:16 was at NCAA Western Regionals in Sacramento, California. And then also my PR in the 100 was from there too.
Ah, okay. Did what were your finishes in that event, if you
At
recall?
nationals, I only made it for the 200 and I came 16th,
All right.
I think. Yeah.
Not the final 8 or the final 10, whatever. So again, backtracking a little, how many competitions you're kicking off with what on February 6th, right? What's the name of the event the meet that you're
Um,
going to compete in?
On February 6th, I think it's called the UNLV Invite. It's in Las Vegas.
Yep.
And then I think 2 weeks later, I also go back to UNLV for the other invite.
Is that an indoor or outdoor competition?
I don't have any more indoors, so it's outdoor.
Okay.
So that's why, yeah, it's definitely better for
So
me.
so we're looking at how many meets before the June cutoff.
Oh gosh, so that's my whole season. So I want to say like 12 meets. I do have actually the schedule. I think it's like 10 to 12 meets that I let me see if I can find it. But yeah, that's like my whole season. That's why I'm fairly confident that I'll have a lot of time. I definitely have a lot of time to make
Hmm.
it. But like I said, I do want to try to do it as early as I can so I can like relax and breathe properly. But here I can see if I can. I'll try to put it into the chat. My
Again, you're Filipino American or Filipino Canadian? Just for
I'm
clarity.
I'm Filipino Canadian, so I'm from
Canadian.
Vancouver, Canada.
From where?
I'm
Toronto, Ontario,
Vancouver.
Vancouver. Okay. So anyway, basta Pilipina ka, that's all that matters. That's all
Exactly.
that that's all
So,
that matters.
so
How
how are,
how yeah,
sorry.
one last question. How would the how so you obviously you're not giving up, you're still pursuing, that would be the right word, your Olympic dream. How would that how would that be to you to be one of the qualifiers for Team Philippines for the Olympics? How is that important to you?
It's probably one of the most important things or the most important goals that I've had in my life. Like, um, I wrote down like in like a journal when I was 6 years old that I was going to the Olympics, uh,
Mm.
or the WNBA or something like that, because I was very like heavily into basketball. But it's been like a childhood goal of mine, and I really am so like I'm so excited to be able to be even close to that. I mean, at times I thought, maybe it was a little far-fetched goal, but with everything that's happened over the years, it seems like it's very much in sight. And I not only just want to run the qualifying time, I want to do well in the Olympics. Like I just don't want to be out the first round. Like my goal is to at least make it to the semifinals, run PR like as much as I can, but it's been a childhood lifetime goal of mine. So it's insight and I'm really hoping just to get it so I can breathe and say that I did it, but it'll mean the world to me, especially being able to represent the Philippines and put up that flag and let people know that, it's possible. The small country has mighty people and be
Mm.
able to like the world stage like that.
Mm. Again, then we give way to our lady and gentlemen and even Sir Chavez. Uh, what's the name of your sprint coach again? Their full name, and then the head coach of the USC track and field team.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it as I say it, but the USC head coach is Coach Carol Smith Gilbert.
Mm.
We call her just Coach Carol. Uh, but yeah, she's one of the only female NCAA coaches. I think there's only like 4 or 5 of them.
Mm.
She's my head coach, and she's also my event coach.
Mm.
She's a short sprints, and she is one of the best coaches ever. So I'm very grateful to be able to be under her, and I get to practice with her every day. She gets to yell at me every day. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a dream of mine. I'm very grateful to be able to be under her.
Are you still training with the Richardsons?
Unfortunately not. I don't think they are at USC anymore. I think they're at grad
Ah,
school
okay.
at another California university. So unfortunately we never got to cross paths, at least train with each other, but
Mm.
we are in California, so hopefully we can get some training in when it comes to relay time or anything like that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Maraming salamat.
So Zion, how are the events? What are the protocols that are being followed for the meets, considering the COVID?
yeah, it's definitely very different. I think for some meets there's no fans, which was heartbreaking news to my parents who come to travel to every meet. Um, but I believe it's no fans and we can't really come and watch. It's kind of like you go to warm up and you have to leave. Can't really watch anything. Um, so yeah, it's just like it's very strict at least, but I mean, it is what it is. Just trying to get the season going. So hopefully everyone follows the rules so we can at least have a full season.
So I guess it's possible also here, right, Coach? We can do something like that.
Yeah.
Coach
Definitely possible.
Enzo. Oh, I don't know if Enzo is hearing this. So anybody have questions? I do have questions, but James, may question ka? Hello?
It's okay.
Wala, wala.
Oh, wala.
Oh,
Sige,
wala.
nakikinig yan, pero an intent listener. Zion, I missed this. You're taking up masters in what course again? Just for the record.
Yeah, a master's in studies of law.
Oh, you want to become a lawyer later on. Okay.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, after my athletic career, trying to be an athlete as long as I can. So,
Your undergraduate studies was again what?
in,
Just for the
in,
record.
yeah, I was in legal studies at Berkeley. I got my degree in legal studies. Yeah.
Oh wow! Imagine a sprinter lawyer. You'll run after culprits then. Like just joking,
Except
just joking.
they can't run away from me.
Anyway, uh, so so you're concentrating on the 100 and 200 in all your meets, or are there any other, or will there be a for example a middle 400 meter that somewhere there?
Um,
Uh,
I think for the most part, because I'll probably be a short sprinter, so I think my meets will consist of either the 1, 2, or the 4x1.
4x1.
Maybe a 4x4, but definitely just focus on the 1 and the 2.
Hmm. Yeah, better.
Mhm.
Of course. Uh,
So so I've been around teammates and those who from all sports, and I think one of their concerns always is their life after sport. So
Mhm.
it seems that you're pretty set, but maybe sometimes in the Philippines it's all about training and don't study because you need to concentrate. So obviously you're proof that you can balance it, right?
Yeah. No,
And
no.
and I guess I'm wondering, how long do you think you're still gonna keep at this? For now, it seems like you're still, still gonna peak. But when do you think it's gonna be over? And how will you know that?
Ooh, that's a scary question.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have hopefully not anytime soon. I'm
Of
hoping
course.
if I run what I want to run and maybe have the right sponsorships and everything, I could continue at least until maybe another Olympics. I feel like I have so much like left in me. Obviously, I'm still young right now, but I still have goals in mind and what I want to like achieve. It's not necessarily just making the Olympics. At least maybe right now that's the current goal, but I do want to be able to run some crazy times and do a lot of other things. So I think once I'm satisfied with myself and like everything that I've done in the sport of track and field, and I know when it's my time, I don't want to go out bad. I don't want to be, too old and slow and keep doing it and stuff like that. I just want to go out at the right time where I've kind of done everything I wanted to do. And from there, I'll continue to normal life. But yeah, I still have a lot of things left in the checklist that I will still want to do. So hopefully in the next 5, 6 years, I'll be able
So
to.
you want to leave on your own terms.
Exactly. I don't want to be, I want to be able to finish it all and be happy and then on to the next chapter in life and the next set of goals.
so what does Zion do during her downtime?
It's crazy because there's not much downtime since I've been here. Um, I really, like I said, with my schedule, it's kind of just like eat, sleep, practice, take a nap, and then go to class and sleep. But um, in my downtime, I just watch TV. Honestly, I watch television shows and movies, and then I go to sleep. I take a lot of naps. We
Hmm.
used to have at least last semester we had a lot of like 6 a.m. 5:45 weights and stuff like that in the morning. So I did a lot of that, and because we have a lot of like meetings and other stuff, there's not much free time. So when I do, take naps and watch TV. Honestly.
Hmm. That's why you look pretty fresh. Uh, I tried to look at your resume with the California Bears, but it seems that it's been down for the past few days, or we can't either connect it with
Yeah.
the website right now. Uh, so Anyway, this is also 2021 Vietnam Southeast Asian Games. Are you looking forward to that as well in Hanoi?
Um, I honestly don't know if I can. When is that meet?
November,
Oh,
November,
oh,
November 23 to December 2.
oh, okay, 2021. Oh, honestly, I honestly it kind of slipped my mind. I was just really focused on Tokyo, but
Olympics.
yeah, the Olympics. But if everything's cool with COVID and everything works out, it'll definitely be a meet that hopefully I will be in shape for and I can actually compete properly. But in Vietnam, I mean, like that's a new place that I've never been to, so it's exciting.
Hanoi, yeah.
Hmm.
It's like they say it's like Baguio. If you've been to Baguio already,
Hmm.
it's high altitude.
Oh, great.
Because she won the 4x1, correct? Silver medal. And have you had any as correspondence or communication with KK over last year or even now? Are
Um,
Do you
not
keep tabs on each other?
not really. I mean, I keep tabs like in terms of like social media, and I see that she's training hard and everything that she's doing, but I haven't really like talked to her like that. I mean, we do get together when I see her at at some of the
Meets,
meets,
yeah.
but yeah, no, haven't. I've seen what she's been doing on social media and stuff like that. That's as far as it
Mhm.
goes.
Mm. I think she's also been going to in Florida. There are also a lot of meets over there, so most probably we'll be competing there, and you're over there. So hopefully,
Yeah, yeah. We might cross paths. I think we have the Florida relay. I see
yeah,
the
the
Florida.
Florida relays. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to Florida Rio, so maybe I'll see her then.
Mm,
And
all right.
maybe we'll be competing against each other then. So we'll see.
Mm. So I mean, again, it's just what it is. Being a Filipino Canadian with, as you said, Jamaican blood, do you take extra precautions in avoiding this virus, given the fact that it's uh, when it comes to colored people, quote unquote, colored people, it seems to be prevalent among them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely been taking like very, very strong precautions, especially here in Los Angeles is really bad. So we definitely have rules. I mean, we have to get tested twice a week, or yeah, twice a week, and not allowed to do anything. Have to wear a mask everywhere. We practice with masks. So I think SC is doing a pretty good job of making sure that we stay in the right protocols and things like that. And I don't really go out. I mean, nothing's really even open to even do. So
Hmm.
definitely being safe as possible.
When you say you wear masks during training, that's not on the track, of course. After, I mean, before on the track itself, you take it off, but then after that, it's back.
No, like when I'm warming up, I have the mask on. Uh,
Yes.
so on the track, yeah, we have to wear the mask the whole entire time. I mean, if we're running a rep, we can take it down, but right after we have to put it back on.
Mm. Does it
So
give you any discomfort off and
yeah, no,
on?
it definitely does. I mean, running with a mask on is never fun, but we have to do what we got to do to try to
Correct,
make
correct, correct.
everybody safe.
Is there a
So
special mask for it for athletes?
no, they used to have like the garters, which is kind of like that neck thing that you put up, but we just wear like the regular disposable mask. And so yeah, we wear that for warm up. We take it down once we're doing a rep. We run the rep, we put it back up. And if you're sweating and stuff like that, just take it off and then put a new one back on. But yeah, everyone just uses the disposable ones.
Mm. All right. For the love of running. Correct.
Well, I have a Miss Universe question. Well, what does it mean to be a woman athlete?
um,
That's
I'll
okay. That's nice. That's nice.
try my best to get a very good Miss Universe answer. Um,
With the wave, don't forget.
I think being especially here at SC, I'm surrounded with a bunch of great athletes, world record holders, honestly, and NCAA gold medalists and stuff like that. I'm able to see just like firsthand what being a woman in track and especially just in track and field is, just to find the goals and just like it's just amazing to see and to find the goals of like male centered sports. I mean, I think in track everyone kind of just like looks at the male side and like, oh, it's Usain Bolt and this and that, but seeing like firsthand just like great female athletes being coached by an amazing female coach, I'm able to see just like what we're able to do every day at practice. And honestly, I think it shows when we go to meets and people can watch us and see us and like defy the goals and defy stereotypes that come, especially with track and field, that we can run still fast. Like there are women that can run 10 seconds, just like any man. Like there's still so much left that we can do. So being in like a very centered female sport, at least at SC, the team is very like close knit and I'm able to see all of these great athletes. I think it just shows me that like there's so much left that we can do in this sport. Yes.
So I'm sure a lot of girls are looking up to you. And in fact, when you were here, I'm sure you had all the attention. So what do you think is your responsibility to them?
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why the SEA Games in the Philippines is one of my the best meets that I've ever been to, was because of just like everyone that showed up. And it was kids, it was people of all ages, and they were just cheering. I mean, I know half of them probably didn't even know much about track and field, but just knowing that they were there to support. And there was a lot of kids, and they were all like with their runners and stuff, wanting me to sign stuff, and they were asking me questions about track. So it literally touched my heart that like there was so many people there that supported Team Philippines and supported me, and to see that they were very proud that we were able to wear the flag and run, and they saw us on the big screen and stuff like that. So I definitely take it seriously when I step out in the uniform, because I know that there are people watching, and I know that a country like the Philippines, who sometimes gets forgotten in the big stage, that there are still people out there that are worth watching, and they're great athletes, and we have barely scratched the surface of what we can do as a country. So I definitely, along with a lot of my fellow Filipino athletes, I know that we take it seriously because we want to put the Philippines on the map, and we want to make sure that people know that we're just not a country to brush over when it comes to a lot of the big competitions.
Yes, it really matters a lot that you're very visible to these girls. So thank you for that.
Of course.
Again, backtracking a little, when was your first time to compete for Team Philippines, Zion?
I believe it was when I was in grade 10. I know I went to that Thailand meet, but I think
What
actually,
year? Do you recall what year?
when was I in grade 10? 2014, I believe. It might have
Okay.
been the spring of 2014. I think Thailand
So
was
you've been with us for 6 years now for
yeah.
flag and country.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I think so. Yeah. There's a lot of
As a
other,
junior you started out as a junior athlete for us, for the Philippines, a junior athlete.
yeah.
Do you have any role sprint icons you look up to, or even the Philippines? Who are your favorite sprinters, etc.?
When it comes to sprinters, I think obviously I look up to, Shelly Ann Fraser Price, Team Jamaica, Allison Felix, Usain Bolt, one of the greats that come from track and field as a country, as a sport. So definitely them. I kind of look at their mechanics a lot, especially Shelly Ann, since I've been trying to transition to a better 100-meter runner. I'm looking at her a lot, just trying to study her. But definitely those people I'm trying to model my game after, for sure.
All right. You said basketball was one of your early team sports. You played point guard, I reckon.
Yeah. I'm a shorty. I'm 5'6", so definitely
Oh,
point guard. But yeah, played out my whole life.
this is off left field. If you ever get because I'm a good friend of the national women's coach, and Dina knows him also, Pat Aquino. Would you like to play for the women's national basketball team if ever you get a chance?
Oh man.
So
Honestly,
she'll do a Bo Jackson, you know, two sports.
Correct,
yes,
correct, correct.
it's definitely not out of the question. It's definitely not out of the question, but with everything that I want to do in track and field, I don't know if I could take time off and
No,
focus on
uh,
basketball.
I
And then,
know
no,
you want
but
to pursue a legal career, but we now have, believe it or not, we now have a pro league in the Philippines for women, the Women's National Basketball League. I think even Miss Dina knows that already. And of course, as we told you, Pat Aquino, the national women's basketball coach, is a good friend of ours. So, uh, should you ever want to return to your first team sport love,
I'll
we can make the proper arrangements. No commission, no commission. No, just yeah,
I'll,
all for flag and country.
I'll definitely keep it in mind. I'll definitely keep it in mind.
All right. Thanks.
Well, I have a couple of questions more. Do you feel that being an athlete will give you a leg up in, you know, your future life, and how so?
Um,
Which is why we should probably be promoting sports because of one, two, and three.
yeah. I think a lot of employers kind of um
That's true.
value athletes in the sense that we are like fairly disciplined when it comes to uh everything that we've been doing in our lives. I mean, we're like both students and athletes. We do everything that a regular student will do, and we also take part in a large chunk of our life is athletics. So I think employers kind of see that we are able to multitask in a sense, discipline when it comes to a lot of things. And so, um, especially when my athletic career finishes, I'm hoping that the future, when it comes to looking for employers, can kind of look at all the things that I've been able to do thanks to athletics and being able to go to school and academics that I've been able to accomplish, that will make a bigger deal to them um, than the average.
It's true because at the end of the day, sport is still education somehow.
Exactly.
If you were given a chance to like improve sports in the Philippines, what do you think are our go-to uh, the go-to plans, the minimal impact that we can do, the minimal that we can do to create the greatest impact? What do you think they are?
Yeah, I've been able to run at a few meets, invitationals in the Philippines over the years, and seeing a lot of like um, athletes born in the Philippines and what they have said to me and like came up to me and talked to me about. And I think it's just more. I think outreach might be like the best, just because I know that there are definitely a lot of kids out there that would love to partake in track and field. I know basketball is a huge thing in the Philippines, but definitely track and field could be runner up if we get the right representation, and it could just be one of those sports. I mean, maybe modeling it after basketball in the Philippines. I've been able to even go to so many meets, and I can see that the communities love those games, going to games like that, and even just taking a little bit of that and bringing it to track. And I think honestly, I believe that the Philippines is doing a good job when it comes to the Sea Games, at least. Like that meet was like the most packed meet I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot of meets in the States, so I've seen it, but the crowd was like unreal. So even just taking just like a little bit of that and bringing it into just even weekly meets, like their weekly basketball games. Um, but yeah, just getting like outreach, getting the word out that, you know, there's and then and then even from there, like you'll have like a lot of other kids that might even partake in the sport and be able to fall in love with the sport like I did. But I think just getting further representation and outreach and taking maybe a note from basketball, because the Philippines does basketball so well with everything that's going on there. It's such a big sport, so why can't track and field be the next one up?
That's true. So hopefully you can come back to the country and do more of those visibility. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe go around. Have you been around the country though?
Yes, I have. I've been still trying to go to a lot of the islands and stuff, but I say like mainly in Makati and like the mainland and stuff like that. But hopefully after, school, just because um the NCAA, I'm obviously an NCAA athlete first, so
Yes.
that kind of takes precedent over a lot of the other things that I'm able to do when it comes to traveling, especially in this time of COVID. So hopefully after that, I'll be able to, go back and forth and maybe stay longer and be able to do a lot of more local meets, and just so I can be more of a face and people can see and watch
Your
me run.
your 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 Filipino heritage, your parent, your Lola comes from what province again?
She's from Tarlac, Tarlac.
Okay.
That's from, but
That's
yeah,
Sugarland country.
yes,
Hacienda Luisita.
yes, Tarlac, yeah. We used to
Yeah.
go there all the time, drive there for.
Uh, okay. So more or less, you first came to the country at what young age?
I think when I was like 6 months old,
Wow.
I was here with my Lola for like a year or 6 months to a year. Um, yeah, my mom just like said, "Go with your Lola. I need to work." So my mom was like, my Lola took me, my Lola and Lola. We stayed in a hotel in Makati for like 6 months or something like that. But
Mm,
yeah, I was there when I was like really young, and then I used to go there twice a year, the whole summers, every summer. But yeah, I used to have an accent and everything when I was young from
that's
staying there for
good.
so long. So yeah, definitely when I was, just born, Philippines was always
Mm.
first places to go.
Oh, you said you like adobo, sinigang.
Yeah.
You know how to cook them?
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Seafood City.
Yeah, okay.
So I go there all the time and try to get like, I don't really know how to cook it. Every time I've tried, it doesn't taste like my Lola's. So I always get like the tocino and like longanisa,
Atosino.
like the easy packaged frozen stuff, so I can just cook it and it's foolproof. Eat it with rice and eggs, like. But when I try
Ah,
to get like some of the food that they make, um, yeah, I go there like almost like every couple weeks so I can
so,
get my
so,
Filipino fix.
uh, so you're one of the people that says rice is life.
Rice, it was a really hard transition to stop eating it. I would always
Yeah.
have the rice cooker out and just say cooking. They're like, yeah, you need to cut it. Or they just said try brown rice, and I'm like, Filipino food does not go well with brown rice. I can't do it. So it's definitely been hard, but I try to have rice maybe once a week.
Right. Cheat day.
Exactly, that's my cheat day for sure.
And so do you like the patis, all those condiments?
Oh yes, yes, yes. My roommates are actually very they're not really familiar with
The
Filipino food, but
smells. Oh no.
exactly, and I'm like, it's fine. But, like, I try to make them try it. They're like, I don't really like the fish sauce and stuff like that. But I'm like, you have to eat it with tomatoes. You have to eat it like this.
Correct.
Uh, I'm trying to make them try everything, but for other people it might be different. But for me, it's just normal.
You're a culinary ambassador as well. That's nice.
have, I have to be.
Uh, all right. I think
Good
I've
for you.
exhausted everything. Um,
I'm good.
Andrew and Miss Dina, you might have other questions.
No, I'm good. I'm just happy to meet Zion and I hope to talk with you again in the future.
Yes, I hope so too. I hope so too. Maybe when I hit the qualifying mark soon, hopefully soon.
Yeah, we'll pray for that. And given and it's always an honor to see one Filipino qualify, and we'll be plugging for you all the way.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Coach Andrew.
Okay, yeah. Well, Zion, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your really busy schedule. It must be a mission balancing, training for sprints and also balancing a career in law. I know myself because, it was difficult to balance studies, training for sprints, and kind of working at the same time. So I had to sort of give up at that point. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd just like to thank you for coming on to our show. And I felt that, you gave a very articulate interview with us and, yeah, really showed your Filipino side today. So we're very happy that you came on board. We also, I'd also like to add that, any Filipino national athletes that would like to interview with us, the door is wide open. We're happy to hear from you, and we'd really like you to have your say and, share your thoughts with us in regards to the situation and, what your plans are moving forward for this year and the years to come. Thanks also to Miss Geraldine Bernardo and Mr. Bon Galvez for taking your time out as well to join us. It's 7 a.m. in the Philippines. It was quite an early start for you guys. Here in Australia, it's it was only 10, 11 a.m. So I got to sleep in a bit. But everyone
Our
else.
pleasure. Si Dina kasi sports, kumbaga former athlete yan, still one. Kaya kayang-kaya niya yan. Eh ako naman, you're a friend, my friend. Kaya it's always
I know.
a privilege.
And I know, Bong, that I really enjoy your write-ups, and I know you'll make a very good write-up from this.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I've already written enough on Zion on my page. I've got like about like 8,000 word article, archive article for that particular athlete. But I know that I'll leave it to you to write a good story on this one.
Which reminds me pala,
like
before we end, oh, ito naman yung Chinese si Ma'am Dina, ano din yan, I also have a little Chinese, Kung Hei Fat Choi.
Oh yeah.
Malapit na kasi.
Yeah, you're excused to eat a mooncake. A tikoy.
Oh, kumbaga malapit na yung yung Chinese New Year. So,
That's true.
oh.
Well, thank
I was
you.
not
Thank
joking,
you,
ah.
everyone.
Meron, si Ma'am Dina may may Chinese blood
I
yan.
do. I
Oh,
do.
ako din meron. Kaya nga yung aking my middle name is Chan. Not the Chan at the stomach, but really CHAN. Just to keep things light.
Thank you. Thank you,
guys.
Zion.
Really
A privilege
appreciate
and pleasure meeting you again. Hopefully in Tokyo. Yeah. Aspirations. Hopefully in Tokyo as well.
Well, does Zion have any last messages? How can people reach you if they want to follow you?
You can reach me on Instagram or Facebook. My Instagram is Zion Zion or ZIONCN. That's probably the best way. But Zion Carlos on Facebook also. But I really appreciate it and definitely want to hit this qualifying mark for you guys.
All right. Okay. Shall we have a screenshot? Okay. We have a screenshot.
I don't
Andrew?
know how to do that. Can you do that? Can you do that?
Okay. I will. Okay. Smile,
Okay.
guys. 1, 2, 3.
Pilipinas. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Right. And
Bye,
mabuhay ka,
Zion.
Zion, mabuhay.
Bye.
So, see you. God bless.
See you. I'll be off soon as well. I have a virtual event. I'll send
Yeah,
you guys.
Yeah, for the second part of this, everyone doesn't have to stick around because
Yeah.
I don't really have any guests for the second half. I'm just presenting my virtual events.
Yes, okay.
And I know that, there we go. I know that, yeah, she's on a hectic schedule. I know how tough it is, handling being training for
Yeah.
sprints. I
And
mean,
sa legal
everyone,
studies, mahirap yun, ha? That's, kumbaga,
people who don't know that much about sprints think, it's only, it only goes for, 10, 11, 20 seconds or whatever it is, like less, like it only goes for seconds. But the amount of work and dedication it takes to perfect those, that 20 or 10 seconds, consumes an incredible amount of time,
mm,
especially the fact that you need to, when you train, you might train for an hour, 2 hours, and you go to the track. The amount of time that you spend recovering between your runs is quite a lot. So you go and run. You might rest 10 minutes, and then you run again, and then you run a couple of times. You might end up having 30 or 40 minutes of rest, broken down within the session because that's how intense it is. And to be able to, I can't imagine, because I did international business and international relations when I was in college, and I worked, had a social life, and I was trying to train, and I basically had to put my athletics on hold for 2 or 3 years because, it was just too difficult. I can't imagine studying law,
yes,
and trying to balance being a live. I was only competing at nationals and smaller meets. I can't imagine competing at that level and having to balance law as well. It must be intense. No wonder she can't answer her Instagram or Facebook that much because she's just way too busy with her routine.
mm,
Wow, I do want to invite her for the virtual conference because she will be a great role model. Yeah.
I
right.
feel that she's one of the best, if not the best person, best athlete I've interviewed so far because I just found she's very articulate and she basically presents herself as a very good ambassador for Philippine sports. She's very
Correct.
polite, very
Yeah.
I
articulate,
totally agree.
No
very,
airs. She's great.
Mm,
very sort of like down to earth as well. Not really sort of very level headed when it comes to those goals. Realistic. You know,
mm.
totally realistic
Ah,
with
yeah.
her.
She knows where she wants to go. She knows what she wants.
I think
And also, as you said, very, very grounded. Very,
I
very
think
grounded.
we need
So
to
we're
consider as
privileged.
well is
So, Miss Andrew, thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you for your listeners. Thank you for Ma'am Dina for reconnecting again.
Yes. Nice to
And
see you.
we'll see each other. Uh, once we get vaccinated, let's all go out.
yeah, once they let Australia back
Coffee
in,
on me.
once they let
Okay
Australia
lang.
back
Anyway, yeah,
Chat
looking
ho
good.
tayo. I'm
Oh,
sure we can do something also for the women in sports
yeah.
events.
Yes, yes,
Please.
yes. Correct, correct.
Thank you.
All right.
So Andrew, you were gonna record this, right? I do want to see the virtual event thingy, but I have to prepare for class.
in. That's cool. You can
This
just
is class.
catch the replays later.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
As that will, I don't really have any guests for it, like because the other co-organizers are busy, like just sorting out the entries at the moment for the event. So they've got that they're chasing up Strava names from people who haven't submitted their Strava names because for the 5K, the Strava name is the most important because the co-organizer Stephen Tan, aka the Talking Chinoy, he needs the Strava names because they're going to email me the videos and then I'm going to put them up on the page on Puma Athletics page, so everybody will be updated with people's 5K runs, and Stephen will be the Strava performances will be synchronized to Stephen's phone, so he'll be getting all the Strava times. That's why it's important that they all provide the Strava names because otherwise, their times don't get recorded in the database. So the Strava is really important for long distance events. For short sprints and shorter events, I'm using video software to capture performances. Absolutely no hand times, of course. Yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks very much for
Thank
joining in.
you. Thank you, Sir
Bong,
Bong.
probably has a story to write or something, or
Oh yeah, I can
another
hear the
story to
clicking.
write. Yeah.
He's
Sige,
starting
sige.
already.
No
Sige.
problem.
Bye-bye. Good morning again.
Good morning. See you, Andrew. Goodbye. God bless.
Yvonne, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
All right. So, yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed that. I sure did. That was a great interview with one of our Olympic hopefuls, Miss Zion Corrales Nelson, from the United States, with Bong Pedralves and Dina Go streaming in and helping out from their location in Philippines, Manila. Myself from Australia, so we were represented by 3 countries. And while everybody's tuning in, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in at this time in the morning, which is, it's an early morning start for everybody, 7 o'clock. Because of the time difference, I got to sleep until 10 o'clock. So I thank everybody for taking their time and staying up and waking up early to watch this. I want to post a special shout out to everybody who tuned in this morning, but we're going to wrap up this next 20-30 minutes or so with our highlights of our virtual run, Women's in Sports 60 meters, which was our successful event held back in December. But anyway, I'll just start by thanking and acknowledging those who liked and watched our video today. So in order of appearance, Marika Maravilla, Eddie Rakamara, Jerry Odujuti, the photographer of the athletic events, Mihai Milhai, Bernardino Clementi, Raul Korios, who's a long-time athletic fan, Ronaldin Benaja, Jay Salis, Patrick Manalang, Angel Rabs Tan, Hudson Emerson, Jarek Coutinho, who's a registration officer for our virtual 5,000 meter run with Chinoy Athletics and Talking Chinoy, Coach Alan A. Vega of BCOL, Gomez and Z, another long-time athletic fan, and he also would like to give a shout out and warm greeting to Zion, Edwin De La Rosa del Fernando, Javis Daryl Anastasio, Marian Gupitasio, Angelo Solinio, John Michael Marfil, Junex Rotersos, and FEU head women's coach, Rosalind Hamero. Thank you all for liking and following our page and tuning in today. I will now be presenting the virtual 5,000 meter run. After that, I've got a dash and I've got to do some updates and amendments to the start list for that. But again, thanks for tuning in. I'll just go now to our presentation. So yeah, today we interviewed Olympic 200 meter hopeful Zion Corrales Nelson, and now I would like to give a special birthday greeting to one of the legends of Philippine track and field, Ms. Coach Elma Muros Posadas, who turns 54, who turns 53, who turned 53 on January the 14th. Elma Muros Posadas is the most B-medaled athlete in Philippine track and field history at the SEA Games, having won 14 individual gold medals over a career which spanned over 20 years. She won golds in a variety of events: the 100, the 200, the 100 hurdles, the long jump, and the 400 hurdles, and the heptathlon. She's also one of the youngest, if not the youngest athlete to ever attend the SEA Games. She was 14 years old in 1981 when she went to her first SEA Games and won a silver medal in the 4x100 meter relay. As of now, there's a rule restriction that athletes under 16 years of age can no longer join the SEA Games. So it's not likely that the distinction of being the youngest ever athlete to join the SEA Games in athletics will be overtaken by anybody in the near future. By the age of 16 at the 1983 SEA Games, Alma was already a Southeast Asian Games champion when she crowned herself the winner in the women's long jump. So we're just giving a warm welcome, a warm birthday greetings to Miss Alma Muros from Panoe Athletics. Best regards to the family and best wishes for health and future endeavours. Okay, so yeah, this is my motto here. If there is nothing in sports to write about, create something that other people will really want to write about. So it's all about making news and, you know, giving people hope during the difficult, dark COVID times by keeping people involved in sport and keeping people from walking out of the sport. So this is a recap of the virtual 60-meter event. So 13 women entered from 7 parts of the Philippines. It was the first time in the Philippines to hold a virtual event in the sprints. It was the first time free singlets were given to all participants in any track and field meet in the Philippines. There were 2 joint winners who both shared the time of 7.75. I was going to play the video, but due to time constraints, this video can be viewed on Panoe Athletics page under our video section. We have 2 women's videos. I'll just make sure that they've both been posted for the women's 60-meter Dash for Cash event. There was also prize monies given out to the winner of this event. So there was, since we had 2 winners, the 2 winners will receive $50. They received a prize from an anonymous sponsor of sports equipment, and they also received 2 free singlets from Massive Sports, and also last but not least, they also received a certificate of participation for the for winning the event. So it was a very interesting event. There were 2 winners of that event. There was national junior record holder of the 100 hurdles, Karen Henario of Leyte, and 2019 Palarong Pambansa silver medalist in the 1 of the 200, Leanne Diana Pama of Misamis Oriental. The competition was so close that there was the unexpected tie between 2 fine young upcoming athletes who, you know, like, who were just too close to call with this competition. Yeah. And the other good thing about this event is it highlighted the importance of the grassroots system in the Philippines, and it showed that you don't just necessarily need a track oval to be involved in athletics, as participants joined the event running on dirt tracks, rubberized tracks, concrete surfaces, and even there were even people running on cow fields and grass with cows looking in the background. So it was, you know, it was a very diverse event, and definitely we will be announcing our next set of short sprint events on the conclusion of our virtual 5,000 meter run, which we will now be discussing. So yeah, so our event was sponsored by Massive Sports, and each participant, as our pilot competition, were given free singlets for joining the competition. These excellent high quality singlets are provided by Massive Sports. Check out Massive Sports on Facebook. They provide the singlets to nearly all the UAAP teams and also to a lot of the national teams in various sports. The singlets are available for purchase at 700, retailing for 700 Philippine pesos each. Yeah, so here's another photo of some the athletes receiving their singlets for joining our event. And yeah, so these were the dual winners of the competition I was mentioning, Karen Hanario and Leanne Deanna Pema. So just filling in now on our updates on our virtual 60-meter event, Pinoy Athletics and Talking Chinoy virtual 5,000-meter run. This is our second virtual event of Pinoy Athletics, and this time we are honoured to be partnered with Talking Chinoy, a very popular YouTube channel ran by Stephen Tan, which has some very interesting insights and commentaries on Philippine athletics, in particular long distance running, but he also does sprint events and he features other athletes as well. So very interesting. It's nice to have a very interesting, diverse view and opinion of the sport we all love, in Philippine athletics. And so yeah, so with this event, this is our first long distance event. We have around 60 entries. I'm not exactly, it's maybe slightly more or slightly less, but last count, I think we had around 56 or 57, and then some more came in. So I think we have about 60 entries, give or take. But after this, I'll be working on, just editing the lists. The entries actually closed last night at 11:59 p.m. Philippine time, so we will not be taking any more entries for this event. It did cost 150 pesos to register. We did get nearly around 60 paid registrations in. We did, allow quite a lot of time. I think it was more than 2 weeks, so it was a more than generous entry time period for this event. So there was plenty of time to put Gcash paid registrations in. We did have a hiccup initially with our original Gcash account, but now that's all been sorted out. There are several prizes in the event, 2,000 for first, 1,500 for second, 1,000 for third. Free singlet to the most improved male and the most improved female athlete. We will be counter-checking times to make sure that they've been accurate, best times have been accurately submitted. We'll also be having a competition, which I will announce shortly, where a free singlet will be awarded to the person who can guess the winning time in the men's and the women's most accurately. And we will be also announcing that, as well as those prizes, any athlete that is paid and registered and finishes the 5,000 meters in this event, which includes the submission of video and Strava time, will be entitled to 15% discount and free LBC branch pickup delivery of all of a variety of massive sports singlets of their choice. We're also announcing that we will be making a preview of athletes in this event. So a write-up media thing is to follow. I've actually just got to make some notes here because this gives me a bit more things on my to-do list. So firstly, I need to double check entries and post. Secondly, I need to do the competition for most improved and guess the time. And then I need to do a write-up on the event participant, on the favorite event participants. All right, but anyway, we're on schedule. I was actually earmarking until 2 hours for this. So it might be that we're going to finish in under. Let me have a look at the time. Well, I'm going to finish in under an hour and a half, probably, maybe just under 2 hours. Okay, so this is a list of all the people who have entered our virtual event. The ones who are in yellow, although Kateas has now updated her details with us, so these are all the entries in our virtual event. So Kateas is now updated, so we are awaiting Strava name information from Rika Kaleko, Alana Halagena, who will be submitting me the information later, and Janet Limadell, who I just emailed. So all but 3 of the entries have all submitted their Strava names for the virtual event. So just a brief summary or look at this event. Let's have a look at who we have in the field. So we have at the top, with the quickest entry time, Emmeline Tapin, who's a young UAAP athlete, obviously in high school, so we don't know too much about her, but you know, she did have some very good runs at the weekly relays in the middle distance events, but now seems to be concentrating and moving up to the longer events. We also have in our lineup Cherry Andren, who is one of the strong female athletes from Cebu, you know, who will be challenging there. And joining her is another young upcoming Cebu athlete who's only 14 years of age, Asia Parasi. We have Nian Barcena, a former Milo champion, 4 times Milo 21K champion, one of the older, more experienced athletes in the event who will be looking at challenging the younger athletes. We have Paui Funaya, the SEA Games mixed relays duathlon bronze medalist in the lineup. We also have some of our, you know, more experienced athletes like Lani Cardona and April Rose Diaz, who are regular participants on the road circuit. Also looking down at that list, we have Erica Ruto. It should be Erica, not Eric. You know, who's a Palarong Pambansa finalist in sprints, who's just doing this event for some, you know, for some fitness, as well as athletes from other events. We also have Alana Halagena, the niece of Coach Titus Saturnino Salazar, the top junior women's walkathon athlete. And also joining us, I should really give a good mention to here is Leslie De Lima, who is the Palarong Pambansa champion in the 1500 meters and the 3000 meters in the secondary girls. You know, yeah. So there's like a very competitive field with athletes from a wide range of events joining us. We have a duathlete, we have a sprinter, we have a walkathon in this event. So it's a very wide variety of athletes of all different ages as well in the participating in the event. So the oldest athlete here is 33 and the youngest is 13. So it's a wide variety of, 43 and 13. So it's a wide variety of age distribution as well for our event. Looking at the events, we are very well represented by Coach Roel Anno's team of BBG Run, which has contributed, like I would say, at least a third of the athlete of the women's events. Also, Valencia Running Club, Pinoy Athletics, Team Titus has 3 athletes entered here. Neo Runners, Imus, Canada Team, Calapan City, General Santos, Dasmariñas, Barcena's Running Warriors, Spectrum Runners are also, and Lapu Lapu City are also joining the meet. Now, moving on to the men, which doesn't even now fit on one page. We have 37 entries in the men, but we have 1 scratching due to feeling unwell. So we have 36 starters now in the men's 5,000 meter run. So 36 starters now. So looking at the men's event, I actually did get the Strava names from Kintapa, but several BBG runners and a couple of others we still need to get the Strava names from. I have updated some of this information, just came in during my interview with Zion Nelson, so I will be updating that after this. Yeah, so with this event, I would like to firstly say that we're very grateful and honoured that Coach Roel Anno's team of BBG Run has contributed about half the athletes in this men's event. So we're really grateful for the support from Coach Roel Anno, and we just like to also mention that Davao in March, Coach Roel Anno will be organising a Davao International Marathon, which is another virtual event which has attracted a lot of entries. And, you know, like, we're going to be supporting his event as he's been great support to ours. We're going to help support his event and get athletes to there. That event, the Davao International Marathon, has a 5, a 10K, a 21K, and a marathon. So anyone who wants to sign up to the BBG, oh no, sorry, not the Davao International Marathon, can contact Coach Roel Anno, either message him or message the BBG Run Philippines group, because they're going to be organising some exciting virtual events. Coach Roel Anno organised the 10K BBG Run event, which was won by Alfrenzi Braza in a brilliant time of 32:01. You know, which was a very successful event, and a lot of those athletes who joined that event are now following up their season with another run at this event. Now, the preview of our top athletes in this event and the variety of athletes we have in the event are as follows. Top entry with a time of 15:25 is Darwin Lim, a former UAAP 10,000 meter champion. You know, now has been around, now 32 years of age, coached by legendary late great Rosito and Dyer at Far Eastern University, and also a teammate of the late great Raphael Polikit. You know, so he comes from a good group of Itaua athletes, and he is the top entry for our event. Now, challenging him will be Prince Joey Lee, Cebu's Prince, who is an athlete slash coach who will be representing Spectrum runners from Cebu City. Joey Lee has a best time of 15:33. Also challenging here will be Elbrun Neri, the UAAP 800 and 1500 meter record holder, and also a former national and Philippine National Games champion in the 800 meters, who represented the Philippines in the 1500 meters and finished 7th at the 2017 SEA Games in Kuala Lumpur. So Neri having a go at a longer event to challenge the 5,000 meter specialists here. Edward Flores, who finished 4th in the BBG Run, is the quickest entry from the BBG runners, who will also be aiming for a podium finish here. And also Alfrenzi Braza, the 1500 meter and 5,000 meter champion of the Palarong Pambansa, representing Iloilo. He was the winner the other week of the BBG Run Philippines 10,000 meters, and he clocked a time of 32.01, a new personal best by about a minute. We also have, rounding up our list of 6 athletes who are starting, who have ran under 16 minutes. Relfred Esporma from ARM Team Haya. Now, looking further down the list at other prominent athletes we have entered in the event, we also have Jerry Vasquez, a Palaro steeplechase champion in high school boys, representing Kintapa. Scrolling down further, we represent the teams that we're represented by here are BBG Run, who obviously have contributed the most athletes, Kintafa, Pinoy Athletics, Maribella's Bataan Runners, JRU, Iloilo, Team Haya, Spectrum Runners, and I'll move on to the next page. So these are our last set of entries here. Our registrant, Jarek Quintanino, is having a go even at this event. He just wants to run a new PB. We, as I mentioned before, Florenio Lapis has withdrawn from the event due to not being well. So we now have 36, not 37 starters for our event. And that's it. I'll just close that up. So I'm just going to quickly answer questions and do a quick shout out to anyone else who has joined and watched in on our presentation. And then I'll be getting back to the other tasks that I still have this morning to complete before lunchtime with regards to our events management. I'm just going to just talk to all these. Okay, so a special shout out to Jasava Tej, John Castillon, and Natius Itano for joining in. And I now have some questions. It hasn't started yet. I'm not sure what they mean. I'll ask later. We should be producing a new generation of Lydia De Vega, Amalia's Tours and grassroots program this time. Well, I'm just going to say in regards to that, we're not the Athletics Association or the PSC, so we can only do our bit in terms of virtual events and helping athletes. With development of the sport, the grassroots is really up to the National Association and the PSC to fix. On our part, you know, just because we love the sport, we just want to do what we can with rather limited resources that sometimes have to be stretched in order to, you know, do what we can to uplift the sport, especially during the COVID time when morale is at its all-time low with uncertainties, with events and that sort of thing. We need to, you know, keep athletes, you know, from walking out of the sport. So, you know, we can only do our small bit as, you know, we obviously have very limited resources that are stretched and, you know, connections in order to get things done. So, you know, hopefully the people at the top are listening and they can, you know, implement the grassroots. That's all I say in regards to Mr. Jasava Tedge's message, that it's really up to, you know, the people at the top to motivate the people at the bottom to, you know, lead in a direction which, you know, is beneficial for everybody in the sport. Okay, is there any further questions? I hope that answered your question, Jasava, when it comes to grassroots, in particular grassroots athletics in the Philippines. Okay, I'll just check if we have any more questions, and then I'll get onto my event management. All right, so that's now 1 hour and 40 minutes on the clock. I think that's quite enough for this morning's broadcast, and I'd like again to thank everybody for tuning in and our special guests. And again, this is another message I'm sending out to Filipino track and field athletes, is that, you know, if anybody would like to interview on our show, the door is wide open. I mean, we're not being preferential to, you know, foreign athletes only. We would love to hear from some local athletes about how things are going and, you know, what their thoughts are. So the door is wide open. The invitation is there for any athletes that would like to feature on our show. We have sent out invitations. Not everybody would like to be on our show, which I can deeply respect. But you know, if anybody would like to come on board and you know just go out and talk to the people, then they're more than welcome. And as I said, the door is always open to them. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for joining in today. And I would like to wish everybody a very happy Saturday. Stay safe, wear a mask, and to all the participants in our virtual 5,000 meters and virtual races, I would like to wish them all the best of luck. Adhere to the COVID protocols in your areas. Make sure you wear masks if required, and we hope to see some good, interesting results, and we look forward to your updates. Thank you, everybody. This is Andrew Curry from Australia signing off.